So, good evening. Welcome to episode number 33. Now, you might notice it's just me and Mark tonight, but we're going to call ourselves the Deadly Duo,
Dynamic
the
duo.
Dastardly Dewey.
I
It's like,
don't know.
what's going on? We're used
We
to
should
being a
be, yeah,
three-wheeler.
we should have thought of this beforehand, really, shouldn't we? What our title was going to be, but
We should have.
yeah,
We could be like, which one of us is going to be Batman? Which one of us is going to be Robin?
I was always Robin in school.
Okay, I'm happy with Batman.
Starsky
Um,
and Hutch. Can I be Starsky then?
Absolutely. Or Cagney and Lacey.
Cagney and Lacey. I'll take either of those, to be honest.
Yeah. Dukes of Hazzard. There was two of them.
Yeah,
Really cool car as well. I love the Dukes of Hazzard car.
yeah. We're probably going to be more Morecambe and Wise, Little and Large, two Ronnies, maybe.
Can you imagine? I love that kind of sense of humour from the 70s. Cannonball Rock on Tom and
Ah,
little
yeah.
races. I love that. But we digress. Rod can't be with us tonight because Rod's doing adult things. So it's just me and Mark. Now, bit of a different kind of podcast this week because we've had our UFC games to discuss. We've had some European games, but we can have a little look ahead at Ospreys v Sharks because they're out in South Africa at the moment. And a little bit of a Lions discussion. Now, we're recording this the night before the Lions squad is being announced, but we've done a little bit of a squad together and we'll have a chat about that and obviously other things going on in the world as well with the Welsh Union PRA, which has kind of come about today. So let's dive in. Sharks, boom, boom. Let's dive in. Now, don't know about you, but I've been on the gram. Looks pretty nice out there. They look like they're
There's,
staying in a nice hotel.
there's some sort of palace, isn't it? I do wonder whether it's Dan's house. Does he live in a house like that, do you think, Mr. Cassende? Think that's his
You know
family,
what?
do you reckon? I don't know.
I loved it. He had a picture with Dan Edwards today, and he went, "Nice to be back in the Mufasa sun."
Yeah.
I was like, "It's looking pretty lovely." There's some dodge tan lines going on, mind
Yeah.
lads.
It's not
But
bad though, is it? To be fair, the Ospreys
no,
have thrown the cash at the tour, I think, end of season tour. Hope they're not enjoying themselves too much and enjoying the
lovely.
facilities too much. But yeah, looks very nice, to be fair.
Like like there was palm trees and this infinity type pool down the middle. It looked lovely, really
Nice.
nice.
I say let's hope
And
they're doing some training as well
yeah, doing some
amongst all that.
training in the lovely green basketball type tops, which I really like. So we're going into round 17, I believe, this week, isn't it? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So we are currently sitting at 11th in the table on 38 points, and Sharks are fourth in the table on 53 points. Um, for us to get into the top eight at the moment, there's a 3 point difference between us and number
Yeah.
eight, 3 points in it, 38 to 40, 41. For us to get any further forward, the reality is we need to beat the Sharks and we need to beat the Lions.
Yeah, I
What do
think
you think?
we're in must-win territory here, aren't we? For these two games, really. That defeat um, earlier on this, well, I can't even remember who did we play that we lost to, the Scarlet League game,
Cardiff,
and Cardiff. So those sort of defeats have
Dragons.
yeah, so they've kind of knocked us about a little bit in terms of the qualification. So we're at a stage now where the South African tour, where we were hoping maybe we might have to pick up a couple of bonus points or pick up one win, maybe, has now
Yeah,
become we need
two bonus
at
point
least
wins.
at least two 4 point wins, probably two 5 point wins, to be fair, to get anywhere near qualification. So you would hope. I mean, the Sharks have pretty much got top four tied up. They're not going to make the top two to get a home semi-final if they get through the quarters. So
Yeah,
I think the hope on the weekend is that maybe they don't go full bore against us. They maybe rest a few with the playoffs in mind. Otherwise, the Sharks out there are going to be a pretty stern test.
yeah,
But nothing to lose. And to be fair, when we've had our backs against the wall during the season, that's where we've been at our best. Glasgow away being the biggest example of that. I suppose nobody expected us to
yeah.
go, but we did. So really we've got to just go without any fear on Saturday. Hope that they're off their game a little bit. And then, the Lions, I can see us beating the Lions. There's nothing to fear with the
They're
Lions.
13th,
Yeah,
and their season has been patchy at probably the best way to describe it.
yeah,
But you're right, I think with the Lions, we go out, we go balls to the wall, we give it a whirl. Dr. Pepper's, what's the worst that's going to happen? We win. But, we've got nothing to really lose at this point in the season. Throw the kitchen sink at it.
not at all.
Nice squad of players that are out there at the moment as well.
Yeah, strange the
Um,
Ospreys haven't actually announced the touring squad officially, as far as I'm aware, anyway, unless they've released it
no,
today. But we don't
just what
actually
I
know who's there. We're just picking it up from
just
pictures.
seen what's on training,
Yeah,
really, from the training field. Max Nagy posted a really nice picture of James Fender, and I messaged him and said, "Is this a feel cute? Might delete later for Fender."
yeah,
Um, but must wish happy birthday to Dan Edwards as well. It's Dan's
yes,
birthday
yeah.
today. Penblwydd hapus I chi, Dan. Um, I'm just slipping that Welsh in there now, ever so
It's
cash.
coming so naturally now, Sam.
Like,
It's
I
like you're
wouldn't like
born
to say
almost.
I'm bilingual. Like, I'm not Fireman Sam by any means, but possibly Pingo levels of Welsh. Like, do you know what I
Bingo
mean?
levels. Did Bingo speak any Welsh? I don't remember that bit, to be honest. But
There was a strange rumor when I was younger that Pingo spoke Welsh, but sped up Welsh.
okay.
Never tested the theory, but to be honest with you, don't really remember a lot of the 90s. I spent a lot of it drunk. Um, I wasn't a great student, but I was a great party animal. A for
Yeah.
effort on the party front.
I don't
But
think Newt was sped up Welsh though, to be fair.
do
But
you know,
probably not. But great program though, by the way.
I that and the Teletubbies kept me entertained. I'm not even going to lie. Um, but yeah, so I think the reality is just go out, give it a whirl. Um, Quite an early kickoff
Yeah,
on six o'clock
six
on
o'clock Friday,
Friday.
isn't it? Yeah, which is a bit of a weird one.
Um, which is early. I wasn't expecting it to be that early until I when I looked at the fixtures. Um, Obviously the Welsh teams are out there at the moment, so we've got Bulls and Cardiff on Saturday afternoon,
Yeah.
Stormers Dragons Saturday evening, and then we've got Lions Scarlets on Sunday. So all four Welsh teams are out there at the moment. Wonder if they all went on the same plane, do you reckon?
Yeah, they may even be staying in the same resort. I haven't seen any pictures of the other teams to see where they're staying. I just wonder whether they've bought out the whole resort for all four
Don't
teams to
follow
stay
them on
together.
socials, don't care enough,
No.
if I'm being honest.
I mean, it might help us a little bit that the other Welsh teams that have got tough South African opposition this weekend as
Yeah,
well. Cardiff at the Bulls, like you said, especially, you wouldn't expect them to get anything from that one.
no,
Scarlets worry me. I wouldn't be surprised if they turn the Lions over on Saturday. Again, if they go with
yeah,
nothing to lose, I wouldn't be surprised if they win that. But Cardiff will struggle, I think, against the Bulls, so that could do us a bit of a favour.
bit of a favour, yeah.
Benetton have got Glasgow on Saturday, so that's not an easy game for them either. Glasgow, I know, are pretty much a shoe-in for well, certainly for the top four, but probably top two as well. So
Yeah,
it's whether Glasgow rest a few for that, which will benefit Benetton, but we could do with really Glasgow going full out for that one and beating Benetton. Um, Munster have got Ulster, so a derby game for them. You never know how those are going to go. So there's some interesting games which could help us out a little bit.
yeah,
Edinburgh going out to Connacht, which isn't, Connacht haven't had a stellar season, but it's still not an easy place to go.
yeah,
So, there's some tough fixtures for the other teams around us, but at the end of the day, we've got to get our business done first, haven't we?
yeah. And we don't want to be at this end of the season and relying on other results really to help us out, do we?
No.
Um, but do you know what? If you'd have asked me at Christmas, would we be in this position? I'd have taken it. I'm not gonna lie, I would have taken it. Um,
I seem to remember, I think the pod we did when Toby went. I'm sure I said something along the lines of Mark Jones has got nothing to lose this season. The season's a bust
yeah,
already. We're not going to make the playoffs. I think we were bottom at one at the time, and the season looked over already. So to get as close as we have, if it is ultimately, near miss when it comes to the end of the season. I think it'll still be a big achievement from where we were
Yeah,
November, December time to where we are now, definitely.
like I'm like totally okay with it, because I do think we're building something really lovely off the back of this season, um, with what we're what we're doing. I
Yeah.
really, really do.
Yeah, next season's
Um,
exciting, isn't it, to look forward to with the re-signings that we've already done, with the potential new signings we're hearing rumours about coming in,
yeah,
possibly. There's some really good signs that the squad's going to be significantly strengthened next year as well. And, Mark Jones having a full pre-season-ish with the squad, the ones that don't
yeah,
tour, certainly anyway. We should be able to start the season strong and go on
yeah.
from there, hopefully.
And we've said before, on pod, that it is far easier to change a defensive style than it is to change an attacking style. Um, to get that attacking play bedded in does take a season. By the time you learn all the different, playbooks, etc., and everything else, it was lovely to see against Dragons, Keelan and Dan clicking, Dan Cassending, Keelan clicking on
Yeah.
that back line. When it worked, it worked. It was outstanding. Um, I would, if Keelan hasn't played himself into contention for a place to Japan, then there's something not right there because he's a little firecracker. Um,
Must be in the coaches' minds. However,
he's
there's rumours today that they may be going back to
Matt Sherratt.
match Errett again, and if that's the case, then it'll be similar to the Six Nations. It'll be a squad full of Cardiff players and people,
Yeah, but
and but we'll see.
that's doing us. I think that's doing a disservice to the other regions because I think potentially you're doing that to not sacrifice the loss,
Mm.
so that you're getting a win. But what does that benefit us at this stage on the losing streak that we're on?
Yeah,
It doesn't really. So I think it's time to be bold and brave about it. But reality is we've got 2 games left that we can bank on. You never know. We were given a 1% chance last time, weren't
yeah.
we?
And I think we're
And
at a
look what
little bit higher than
happened.
that currently, aren't we? I think we're on 2 or 3% at the moment, so
Two,
it's a
two,
bigger
three
chance than we had
percent.
last season. So
So, piece
who
of piss,
knows?
it's fine. Um,
Can we just give a shout out to Nick Williams, our friend from the
yeah, I'm
Ospreys
not
Library as
jealous in the
well,
slightest.
who is heading out to South Africa for this double header. If you are listening as you travel, Nick, then siwrne hapus, please bring back the wins for us, hopefully, and we'll be looking out for you on telly, especially in the Lions game, because nobody watches
Nobody's
the
there.
Lions.
Where's something we
So
can
you'll definitely
identify?
get on telly for that one.
Send us a selfie so we know what you're wearing and we'll go on Nick Watch. Or take your black and white scarf. I know it's going to be like very, very warm, but we can play Where's Nick instead of Where's Wally.
Yeah,
Where's Nick? Um, so I think that would be very, 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 very cool.
yeah.
But in other big news, we have had some sponsorship signings this week. The lovely Coastline Kitchen are sponsoring my boy Dan Cassendi. Now, for all you meal prep and protein and athlete meals people, um, I will tell you, I know Joe and Stacey who run Coastline Kitchen. You know me, guys. I don't mention anything unless it's top notch, it's good, and I use it myself. Coastline is sponsoring Dan, and this week they've given Dan a code which is Postman Dan, and that gets you £10 off your first order with Coastline. If you go onto their website, you will see that they actually deliver all across South Wales. So if you put an order in, you'll get £10 off your order and you'll get your delivery. Now, last week, John picked stuff up for me in the gym. I had their spicy chicken box, which was chicken with some potato wedges, some peppers, and a carton of like chip shop curry sauce. Oh, like 600 calories, all the protein in there. stunning. They also do breakfast. My particular favourite is the overnight banana and chocolate oats. Funnily enough, I got one on my desk because I had one for breakfast, which I really need to throw in the bin underneath my desk. But yeah, 397 calories in that, which is
Right.
outstanding. Um, so came up with a catchphrase for Joe and Stacey, which is just like Postman Dan, coastline deliver. So Dan's also popped some videos up of the lovely food they've delivered to him as well. Can highly recommend it, guys. Like, this is not me, fishing for sponsorship or anything else. It's genuinely something that I use myself. So when I saw that they were sponsoring Dan, both me and John messaged him and was like, mate, this Joe and Stacey's food is banging. And he's posted how lovely it is. So it's really nice that Dan has now got a shirt sponsor like Dairy and some of the other big players. So it means we're
Brilliant.
bedding him in. We'll have him talking in Wenglish in no time at all.
Absolutely.
Like, he'd be
Definitely. Oh,
using
sounds
Mosh.
really good though. Yeah, hopefully when we move next season, some other businesses might buy into
Yeah,
sponsorship opportunities as well. And it's, good we've got local companies already jumping on it.
yeah. They're putting something back in, and it is all local, freshly sourced produce. Tastes beautiful. It's really good for you. All your my macros. Don't listen to me. Macros. I just want calorie control. But all your macros and everything it worked out for you, and it is proper banging. So big up to Coastline Kitchen. Thank you for sponsoring my favourite player. Um, but we've also got the Lions coming tomorrow. Now, don't know about you, but I'm keeping my phone free between 10 and 12 because Faz might ring me. Might want
But
me
you
on the
never know.
coaching team. Don't know.
Yeah. There's a few injuries, doubts at the moment, aren't there? So, you never know. Keep your boots in a bag just in case, I think. Yeah.
God, do you know what I mean? Can you imagine? Like me out in Australia, I'm not scared of spiders much.
I've heard
Like,
something today. They're sending cameras to different camps of clubs and stuff around the country. So when they make the announcement, they're going to be
they're
sort
being
of
filmed.
filming the players as they announce it, which is great for the players that are making the squad. But you imagine you're going to get some pretty glum-looking people sat there
Yeah.
that haven't made squads that are going to be so disappointed, and they're going to try and act on camera as if they're
But it's
happy
like
with whoever's taken their place.
all our lot are in South Africa. So there is a strong possibility that potentially they're going to be travelling. I
Yeah,
read online. But a lot of players have been given shirts and had their pictures taken in their shirt, in their
yeah,
lion shirts, or been given lion shirts to take with them
mm,
in the off chance that they get picked, so then they can have all their promo
yeah.
pictures. I love seeing their reactions to the announcements because genuinely they do not know that that call is coming.
Can you imagine they
Um,
don't make it though? Imagine you get given a lion shirt to take to South Africa with you for a tour, and then they make the announcement and your name's not on that list, and he just sat there with an
yeah, but you've
extra
got an
lion
80
shirt.
quid shirt for free, haven't you? I don't think
You're
they're
gonna
going to let make you
you're
give
gonna
it
burn it
back.
at that point, aren't you? Because you haven't been picked. So
You'd be like, ah, bastards, bastards. Um, but I've kind of done loads of people have been doing their test 15, but I've been watching Lions long enough to know that in those midweek games you can play yourself in and out of contention very fucking quickly.
yeah,
So I've
I
gone
have
for
done a
it.
full 37 squad. I don't know what you've done for tonight, but I've done a full squad of 37 players.
I have as well.
Yeah.
So
Should
I've
we try and rattle through it as quickly as we can? Otherwise, it could be the longest pod we've ever done
it
otherwise.
could, yeah. So I've split myself these up in positions.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So props wise, I've
Should we
gone
go loose
for
heads? Who have we got loose heads?
I've just done props.
Oh, you just
I
done
haven't
props.
gone
Let's go through all six
just done
props then, yeah.
props. So I've gone for Ellis Genge, Tad Furlong, Andrew Porter, um, Pierre Schumann, Sander Ferguson, and Will Smart.
We'll stay with, yeah.
Will Stewart, sorry. My writing's
Exactly the same.
shocking.
Yeah, same six props. I think that's one of the easiest decisions to for the
I
coaches to make,
struggled
isn't
in
it?
some other places. I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah,
Um,
some of the decisions are a nightmare, but I think tight head especially, there is nobody else you can take apart from those three. Loose head, there's a few other names you could throw into the
yeah.
mix, but they're the strongest candidates,
So
certainly. I mean, he could throw Nicky Smith, I've heard bandied around by some pundits this
I
week as a
did, I
possibility.
did, I got that in a question mark, but that was potentially my one of my bolters, if I'm being honest,
Because
because
rumours are the squad might be more like
they
39,
said it could be
40.
40,
Yeah,
which there's no hard, because I looked at this and there's no hard and fast rules as to how
not
many
at
you
all.
can take.
Not
So
at
if you
all.
can take 40, go
And
for it.
prop
Like
may be one of those positions where they may want to carry an extra,
it's
possibly.
it's a long way as well. If you're getting told you've got to jump on a plane for injury, it's a 24-hour flight.
Yeah,
So I would rather perhaps you be there, you know.
yeah.
Um, Hockers, I've gone for Dan Sheehan, Jamie George, and Derry.
Exactly the same, Sam.
Wow, we're
I mean,
vibing.
Cowan, I think the only decision for me was Cowan Dickey or George, and I just went down to George's experience.
Yeah,
His line out throwing's better as
and
well,
his leadership,
and his leadership,
skills.
yeah. But I can't see how Dewi can miss out. And they're going to want to balance the squad. I know there's lots of talk about there's only going to be one or two Welsh players there. I think when it comes down to it, the coaches are going to want to balance it out a
You
little
need
bit.
it. I think
Otherwise,
you
it's going to
need
be
it.
too heavy for a couple of countries, maybe, and then that
You
representation is going
lose
to
your
be there.
support a
So
bit at home, don't you? You need to. It needs to be a bit. I'm not saying put someone in just for the medal. Do you know what I mean? But I
yeah,
think some people would feel hard done by if certain people weren't included, and
I think
I
potentially if
get
there's a
that.
50-50 call between a Welsh player and maybe another Irish player,
Yeah,
then they might go for the Welsh player if there's, especially, I took got Sheehan there already.
yeah.
I can't see them taking is it Kelleher as well as Sheehan,
Mhm.
to have two Irish hookers in place. I just can't see that happening really.
No, no. Um, my
Well, it's all going
second
swimmingly so far. Here we go.
I know. My second row, I've gone for Toji. I do think he's going to be captain. That has been slightly leaked this afternoon.
Oh, has it? I was going to choose him as captain as well. I was swayed by the Scrum Five pod when they did
Yeah,
their Lions
yeah,
selections, and Bernard Jackman was talking about how it should be a non-Irish captain because the squad's going to be so predominantly Irish, because the coaching team's so predominantly Irish. Then you
yeah,
need a captain from another nation to balance things out a little bit. And yeah, I was sold,
yeah.
to be honest. That was a really, really good point.
And, Caelan Doris is having, I think if Caelan Doris hadn't been having shoulder surgery, I do think it would have been a tight, I think there could have been a co-captaincy situation there. But
Maybe. Yeah.
obviously, they don't think that he's going to be. So I've discounted him for injury reasons.
Oh, have you?
I've
Okay.
gone I've gone for a Torgy, I've gone for Ollie Chesham, Tad Byrne,
Yeah.
and Joe McCarthy.
Yeah. See, I've put a fifth lock in as well.
Have you?
I've got Dav Jenkins in as well.
I reckon he could be a bolter.
Only because Byrne could play back row as well. So then you can carry an extra lock, and then Byrne could be an extra back row
So you've
potentially.
got cover.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes
So
sense.
I've put a fifth lock in there. But I'm guessing then you've got an extra back rower probably. If you've got eight back
Yeah,
rowers instead of, because I've got seven back rowers, I'm guessing you might have eight.
yeah, I have got eight,
There we are
actually.
then. There we are then.
Um, I've gone for Jack Morgan, no
Yeah.
brainer.
Yeah. Me too.
For the people on social media who were saying that he shouldn't be included, up yours. What are you watching?
Yeah.
Um, Henry Pollock,
Oh,
I
you got
like him.
Pollock. He is superb. I mean, to be fair,
I like him.
he's such a joy to watch, isn't he? He's an absolute shithouse, and he's going to
Don't get
be
it.
a star
Don't
for
get.
England for years, and he's
Don't
going to be
get.
the bane of our life probably as a Welsh rugby supporter. But you
Yeah.
can't help but like the lad. He's enjoying his
Honest to
rugby,
God,
and
my friend is in Northampton and her kids go to school with one of the Northampton coaches. And he had a lot of stick after the end of that Leinster game on Saturday because of how exuberant he was at the end.
mm,
I loved that. That shows me that you care, you've got passion, you love your club. If you don't like that in Leinster or wherever else you're watching, go away. I love that. He didn't do anything overtly controversial. He was just overjoyed.
yeah.
So for
And it was
me,
kind of a Jack Morgan-esque performance. I think he had the most tackles. Was it
he
18
was
tackles in the
amazing.
game? Turnovers galore. And he's
He
just
was
got extra pace
rampant,
as well. He was just superb. Yeah, you can't help
absolutely
but enjoy watching
rampant.
him.
So for me, that he played himself into contention for me
Yeah,
Saturday.
yeah.
he absolutely did because I didn't have him originally, and then I was like, do you know what? Yes, mate,
I haven't
absolutely,
got him in
yeah,
my 37. I think if it's a 40-man squad, then I think you'd take him from
yeah,
that point. I haven't got him in my 37, but I can see him getting picked definitely.
yeah. And his coach was saying two very, very different people on and off the field. So off the field, he's yes, sir,
Really?
no, sir, really humble, really lovely.
Okay.
Goes on that field and then he's just so excitable. He's like a puppy. So I'm good with him. I think we need more characters like that in because to me, he doesn't come across as smug or smarmy,
Mm.
unlike Marcus Smith. There's something about Marcus Smith that I don't see that genuine joy. And
We might come to him in a minute, but yeah.
yeah, I've actually, yeah. But I've gone for Tom Curry,
Yeah.
um, Jack Cowan, Josh Van der Fleer, Jack Willis. What is my writing? My writing's awful. I've gone for Toby Faletau and Ben Bennu.
Yeah.
Um,
Trying to think,
I
I've
think
got
Faletau
nearly
has
the
played
same as
himself
you.
into contention.
Yeah, I got nearly the same as you. I think I got Morgan, Earl, Curry, Van der Fleer, Conan. I have included Doris. Um, and I got Faletau as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. Yeah. So I've got Conan kind of covering 6 and 8 potentially. Earl
Yeah,
can cover all across the back row. Curry can play 6 or 7. Morgan can play
yeah,
6 or 7. Van der Fleer is your all out 7. If Doris is injured, then you've got Faletau and Conan and Earl
yeah,
potentially they can play 8 there as well. So
yeah.
yeah, I mean I do feel for your Jamie Ritchie's and well Ritchie especially I would say. Willis, you've got Willis in your squad, haven't you?
I have, yeah,
See, I haven't put Willis in mine, but again, if it's a 40-man squad, the fact that he joins 3 weeks into the tour doesn't make so much of a difference because
yeah,
he can come in sort of fresh, play a midweek game, possibly play himself into the test team. Whereas if it's a smaller squad, I would worry about, if you're carrying without him for the first couple of weeks of the tour, potentially without Kinghorn. Um,
yeah,
if you choose Ben Smith at 9, there's sort of 3 players there who could potentially make the squad that may be out for the first 2 games at least, possibly 3. I think you can probably carry a couple of them in a bigger squad, but in a 37 it would be a big
yeah,
ask, I think. And
yeah,
a big strain on the other players in the squad to fill in their positions until they arrive, potentially.
yeah. And then scrum halves, I've gone for Gibson Park, Alex Mitchell, and Thomas Williams.
Yeah, exactly the same.
My tens then Finn Russell, Finn Smith, and as much as it pains me, Marcus Smith.
Yeah, see, I'm torn. I mean, we haven't talked about the Northampton game properly yet, but Prendergast did himself no favours on Saturday. I know the
I don't
flip
think
side
he's
of that
there for
is,
me yet.
yeah, the
I think
flip
he'll be a
side of
kick
that
in
is
the
that
teeth.
he led Ireland to a title last season, as in led from 10.
Mm.
Uh, he's looked good all season, but he was playing touch rugby on Saturday, wasn't he? As Jim Hamilton so hilariously said in
He's
commentary.
young,
He
and I
is.
think for me, he's got plenty of time to go on
Yeah.
a Lions tour, and I
I mean, you
don't
could argue the same with Finn
necessarily
Smith potentially, but I think Finn Smith's got that bit more composure. He's better defensively, certainly.
played
Uh,
himself into contention for me.
and I think his big game play, not just on Saturday, but in the last few tests for England as well, have shown how well that he can control the game as well.
Yeah,
Especially when you got Finn Russell, who's such a maverick. You
love
know,
him.
if he's off his game, then you're going to need somebody as backup who can step in that you can trust to start a test match.
Yeah.
And this is where I'm torn then on my third 10, because I've got 2 English players. I've got Marcus Smith and I got George Ford. Now,
Mm.
George Ford is a very, very safe
He
pick.
does
He's a
what he
very
says on the tin.
steady hand, but that may be exactly what we need,
Mm.
especially in the case of, let's say Finn Russell gets injured in the first warm-up game. Do we want then to be sat there with Finn Smith and Marcus Smith as our two backups. Um, you know, both of whom are fine players, but haven't got that
Flair.
wealth of big match experience. Having said that, Marcus Smith, probably the only reason he's not playing 10 for England is they can't fit him into their system.
Yeah,
Is it a case of that, but and also he can cover 15 as well as 10. So I'm really torn between those two. Part of me wants to take George Ford because I think he deserves a Lions tour. And he's that steady hand
yeah.
amongst a load of Mavericks at 10 potentially otherwise. But then Marcus Smith offers more flexibility. But you know what? I'm going to stick with George Ford. I'm going to go with a
You
really
stick with
steady
George
hand and stick
Ford?
with George Ford there. And if it's a larger squad, I think potentially then Smith goes as a 10-15 sort of hybrid cover,
Yeah.
maybe.
Centres, I've gone for Tupolato's back,
Yeah,
so he's going to be fit. I've gone for Bundyaki, again, pains me to say it.
yeah,
Hugh Jones,
yeah.
Tom Jordan, and I put Owen Farrell in as well.
Have you?
Yeah, because I think he could also cover 10.
He could. I've heard a lot of talk about. My worry with Farrell is he doesn't seem to be playing that well. I know a bit like George Ford, he's a steady hand. He's got all the experience in the world. Um,
I'm not saying he's a Nepo baby, Mark, but he's a Nepo baby.
yeah, there is that. There is
Uh,
that. So you haven't got ring rows in yours at all?
no.
Yeah. See, I've got the four, two Scots, two Irish, and I've actually gone for a third Irish as well. I've gone for Henshaw as well.
Mm,
I've got two Pilotuaki, Jones, Ringroads, Henshaw. The other name I thought of in there again, who can cover quite a few positions, is Elliot Daly.
yes, I didn't
He's a really
consider
good
him.
player. He could cover 14, 13, 15 possibly as well.
A good
Um,
utility back, strong
yeah.
utility back.
And again, that might depend on the size of the squad, possibly. But yeah, if we're choosing the five, I would take the three Irish lads and two Blotto and Jones. But I think two Blotto and Jones are your test starters. I think they is a combination.
Yeah,
Start that first test
they're
based on
stunning.
current form.
Yeah. They've been trying to do things with their names, haven't they? Have they called them Hupalato
Yeah,
or um Tupion Tupiones or something like that?
yeah,
I've
there's something, isn't there?
seen
Yeah,
them trying to fiddle with that. And then for my back
it's
three,
the Brangelina thing, isn't it?
yeah, back three have gone for Tommy Freeman, Darcy Graham, James Lowe, Duan, although there is a bit of a injury doubt over him at the
Mm,
moment,
there
but
is,
I did
yeah.
hear that he might be back. I've gone for Blair Kinghorn and Hugo Keenan.
And I've got exactly the same six in my back three as well. Blair Murray, possible bolter. As a Welshman, maybe I've heard his name bandied about, but I can't see
Yeah,
it to be honest.
I can't
Again, in an
know.
extended squad, possibly, but I don't think he's got as much flexibility. He can only really play back three. Whereas
Yeah,
if you're taking somebody like a Smith or a Daly or a Farrell, then there's more positions than they can cover. So I think he might mix out based on that flexibility, maybe. But it's interesting to see what size squad they take. If it's a 37, it's going to be a tight squad. If they extend it out a bit further, then that's where we could see a few bolters like a
yeah,
Pollock coming in, like a Daly, a Farrell. There maybe aren't shoe-ins, but in that broader extended squad,
could be
they could turn
useful.
out to be really, really useful tourists, even if it's
Yeah,
stepping into midweek games. Just to avoid somebody having to bench in a game where they've already started on a weekend or
yeah,
whatever, that kind of thing.
yeah. I don't know about you, but I put all the dates in my diary now, so I know exactly
They're all on my phone, yeah. Yeah.
all their times, the whole shebang.
We're not
Um,
far off then, are we, in teams there? We're pretty
we're
pretty
not, we're
close to that
pretty, yeah,
37,
there's a
aren't we? There's
couple
only a
of like
few.
different differences, but I think, yeah, so we'll post these on socials so that you can, see. And then it'll be interesting to see tomorrow. It's on Sky Sports, I believe,
It is, yeah.
live. Um, I work from home, so I may or may not have the laptop on.
I'm going to be in class tomorrow afternoon, so unless the children, how can I shoehorn lion selection into a lesson of some description? Could be a maths
Diplomacy,
lesson, maybe count up all the numbers of the players from each country that have been selected. Could be a math session in there.
cultural diplomacy, do a section on each country,
Yeah,
Ireland, England, Scotland, and Wales, and you could do like a mini potted history. Do you know what? I'll think about this because I'm sure I can come up with something.
Because we're doing a VE Day celebration tomorrow as well, so it will be all about Britain,
Yeah, yeah. Not I'm not
British and
doing
Irish
that face for
Lions.
VA Day because I'm really proud of our veterans.
Yeah, I'll have to have a think how I can shoehorn in an hour of Lion selection in the background.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll find a way.
Roll out the lions. Farrell is picking his squad. That was
Oh,
pretty good for off the
that's
cuff.
not
That
bad.
was fair
That wasn't bad
play.
at all.
ADHD is a wonderful thing sometimes. But yeah, and I'll probably do like a little reaction tomorrow, and we can all do our reactions to what, and see how right or how wrong we've got it.
I mean, based on previous experience, probably all of the pundits and us will be miles off what the squad will actually
Be
be.
like,
It's always the same, isn't it? There's always, oh,
what's
what's he doing
Farrell
there?
on?
Who's he got there? Yeah, and it's the same every year. And then it,
Yeah,
the tour happens, and it's like, oh, actually, yeah, he played really well, and you can understand why he's a tourist or whatever. So,
yeah.
yeah.
And sometimes you just need players who are going who are bloody good tourists. You know,
Hmm.
they know that they're not going to be test starters, but you know they're going to be a bloody good tourist. Um,
And I do think that may end up being Dewi's role potentially. I can see him being a midweek captain.
and then playing himself into contention.
Possibly, yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised, if Farrell is likely to happen, has got Sheehan pretty much nailed in for the first test,
Yeah,
that I can see like, playing a big role in that midweek squad and
yeah. I
certainly
think
leading that.
that first test, I think the warm-up game that they're doing in Dublin is going to be interesting
Yeah.
because we'll have some kind of idea of probables. So I think that's going to be really, really interesting to watch. I'm just really jealous. My friend Neil is going out for all of it.
Yeah.
Really jealous. But this is the joy of being over 70 and retired. You know, Neil, you better bring me back present, mate. Big
It'll be
time.
our turn one year.
Koala. I'd like a koala.
An
Um,
actual koala or a
yeah, can you imagine? Yeah, but although they do give sexually transmitted diseases.
that's a bit of a drawback.
Yeah, I don't need gonorrhea in my life. You know, absolutely not. Yeah, did you
That's
not
the
know that
that's the
koalas?
tagline for the pod then. I
Yeah,
don't need
Sam doesn't
gonorrhea in
need
my life.
gonorrhea in her life. Um, yeah, they're really sexually promiscuous,
Are they?
koalas are. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
and they look so
absolutely
innocent, don't
right.
they? They look so
Wouldn't
innocent.
think they got it in them,
No, not at
but
all.
seriously, yeah. When
Wow,
you
I'm
go and you
shocked.
can have these things with koalas, like don't touch the koalas. They could like proper give you an STD.
Wow.
Um, Not only are we entertaining, we are educational.
Well, I've certainly learned something tonight, and probably something that I never thought I'd hear, and probably something I
It's
never
something that
will
you
need
never
to share with
needed to
anybody
know.
ever again either. But there we are.
Just makes me think of the comment that we had last week. Tuned into this thinking it was a rugby pod, didn't expect to have a discussion about A Knight's Tale and Star Wars. Keep it up, I loved it.
Yeah,
Well, you, for you, if you want random
yeah,
as well as your rugby, this is the pod for you.
yeah. You never know what's coming next, dear.
You just don't know.
We don't know
I
what's
am.
coming next. So,
I don't know what's coming next. I often say stuff and I'm surprised. Um, because I'm a bit like a social hand grenade. Pull the pin off and throw me in.
yeah.
I just don't know what's gonna come out. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But moving on to bad, Welsh Rugby Union again.
What are they playing at?
So Dave Redden with Abby Tierney on the podcast was asked outright, has this got anything to do with your funding restructuring about the PRA and Keyword Collier coming out and saying you need to sign this in 24 hours? No, no, no. Understandably, the clubs have got, questions that they want to ask because of Cardiff being taken over. We understand. The clubs have come out and said, well, we're not going to sign something that we haven't seen. So thought Abby Teeny put it to bed quite nicely.
Hmm.
It now comes out that they've been issued with a deadline to sign it by midnight tomorrow, or they're going to be served notice on the current PRA.
Yeah.
Now, a couple of things around that. We've said time and time again, communication,
Hmm.
transparency. You said one thing a couple of weeks ago. Now, when the deadline was originally issued and you were asked about it on Scrum 5, you've now come and said entirely opposite. Um, the article that I read on Wales Online was that it's got to be done in order to get NatWest funding for, restructuring debt, blah, 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 blah. Like, whoa, what are you doing?
What I don't understand is, was it 2 years ago, or you've not even that, the Welsh Rugby Union decided the best strategy with the women's team was to threaten them and to put a deadline in place, an arbitrary deadline of you have to sign this by this time, you have to sign your contracts by this time, and it blew up in their faces.
You learned nothing.
And again, we're in a position, I know it's with the regions this time, but they're in the same position again where they're issuing threats to people,
Yeah,
to sign things or else. And it's going to blow up in their faces again because,
yeah,
as we've discussed over the last few weeks, I mean, I know Lance has played a straight bat online with it, but certainly up until last week, the other regions had many, many questions about the new PRA which hadn't been
yeah,
answered. As far as we know, those questions still haven't been answered. There's been no official comment or statement made by regions or by the union to say that that's been resolved and those
yeah,
concerns the regions have got have been put to bed. Um, so again, are they being asked to sign something that they don't know the detail of, that the union can't
yeah,
guarantee, and then being given this threat of, well, you've got to sign it by Thursday or else.
yeah. Now, what annoys me is in February, the PRA was agreed. A couple of minor things needed to be ironed out, but it was all agreed in pencil, just pen one put to paper. Now, the Welsh Rugby Union have negotiated this knowing full well that Cardiff are in trouble.
Mhm. Yeah.
You had no transparency with the other regions, and I get that it is financially sensitive, and I get that things could have changed quickly if the two donkeys, Hellier Capital, had put their money where their mouth was.
Mhm.
But obviously, since then, sorry, Helston Capital, since then, things have changed dramatically with what's happened with Cardiff. They've gone into administration. Cardiff have been bailed out by the Welsh Rugby Union to the tune of 780k. Um, and obviously, under the new PRA, the understanding is that all the clubs have got private backers who
Mm.
will underwrite any funding deficit that's not provided by the Welsh Rugby Union. So they've got to give a personal guarantee that they can do that. Now, are the Welsh Rugby Union doing that for Cardiff?
Mhm.
Are they're their benefactor? So now they're putting
Yeah.
their money in.
But by their own rules, they have to be, don't they?
Yeah. So if you're putting approximately 2 million into Cardiff, then if you're another region, you're going to have questions. You're going to be like, well, hang on a minute now. You're paying 2 million to Cardiff in fairness to the other regions and under the spirit of the PRA, shouldn't that be resolved? And also there's been lots of talk of turning Cardiff into the Leinster of Wales. And
With what money? I mean, the only money they've got at the moment
like
is
what
the union's
money,
money.
what basis? The
Yeah.
clubs don't like the regions don't want that. And I'm not being funny. Why would I want Cardiff, who is WRU owned, signing them to Cardiff contracts and potentially central contracts, which again is a sneaky backdoor way of getting in
Mm.
Cardiff to be in the Leinster of Wales.
Yeah.
Um, you know, uh, the Welsh Rugby Union can refute that to all they want, but I ain't being funny. Your right hand don't always know what your left hand's doing. And nobody's got any faith or trust in you. So when
No.
you're saying, yeah, we're not going to do that, I'm sorry, guys, we don't fucking believe you. You've pissed in our ears before and told us it was raining.
Mm. Things that all this is leading to more and more uncertainty. There's enough uncertainty in Welsh rugby already, on and off the field. And we're in a position now that if they do serve notice on that PRA, that three regions is back on the table again.
Yeah,
Back into that merry-go-round again about how they make that decision on three,
Yeah,
which they've refuted. Abby Tierney has said publicly on many occasions that the union want four strong regions in Wales, that it's more cost effective to keep four
yeah,
regions rather than reduce to three. And now sort of the veiled threat now is that, three's back on the table potentially if they do serve notice on
yeah.
that, and the unions
You
don't agree
know,
to it. You've got us this just building a new stadium, you've got the Scarlets and
yeah,
the
you know,
Dragons are spending money for next season. The goalpost might change in terms of the funding for next year potentially, and clubs are
yeah,
already committed to contracts and things for next season. It's just an absolute mess again, and there has to be, as you say, that transparency, and the regions can't make comment on it because they're at the end of the day
they
far
don't
more
want to shove their head
professional than the
above the
union
parapet. Yeah, like,
because they're actually playing this extremely professionally, all of the regions, because they're
yeah,
not commenting on it, they're not making public statements, which the union seem to be just throwing these statements out all over
yeah,
the place or leaking things to the world online or whatever it is.
yeah. Scrum 5 clearly said, is this anything to do with your funding? But it now kind of seems to turn out that NatWest won't agree to refinance
Mm,
the debt, the COVID debt, under the current PRA, because the old agreement, I think, is any Welsh Rugby Union profit or uplift goes back to the four clubs. Well, the
mhm.
reality is NatWest will want their money back. So that is a lending risk to them.
Yeah.
So, I get it, they're desperate for the Welsh Rugby Union, that they want to sign that, they want to restructure, but don't play hardball with the other regions because it suits you
No.
at this point in time. So we'll see how this plays out tomorrow.
Well, it'll be interesting
Um,
to see when that deadline passes because there was rumor of a similar deadline a couple of weeks ago where there was a Tuesday deadline given for the regions to sign the PRA, which never happened and passed, and there was no further comment made on it as if it
Bluff
would
and bluster.
happened. So it'd be interesting tomorrow if they do stick to their guns on this one, as they did with the women with their contracts, and actually follow through with it, or whether again it's just them throwing the toys at the pram, trying to force the regions into signing something that they can't agree to because they don't know the full detail of what's in it at the moment.
What lawyer would advise you, going back to the day job? I would not advise any of my clients to read anything that is not crystal clear, that you don't understand, and that you don't know the terms and conditions of what you're agreeing and signing up to.
Hmm.
It's madness.
Yeah.
How can you expect a professionally run, and their businesses, regions,
Mm.
to agree to that?
No. We will have to wait and see, won't we,
So
tomorrow
we'll
at
see how it
whatever
plays
time it
out.
is, 6 p.m. or whatever it is, to see whether those
Midnight
they
in
are
there or
signed or
something
not.
like that. But more
Yeah.
importantly, have you been watching Conclave Cam on frigging BBC about the new Pope?
Yeah.
It's like literally on BBC has got a designated channel for
Yeah.
Conclave Cam. I'm just so in awe. I'd love shit like that.
We could do the
I can't
PRA
wait.
cam though, couldn't we? So
We
when it's
could, yeah.
signed, there's some shit comes out of the top of the WOU building in
I
Cardiff,
know. It's
and it
like,
just birds
wow.
birds crap at the top of the building to say, yeah, it's
Yeah,
done.
I'd love it. But so, because there's only two of us, it's been a bit of a brief one tonight. But even though there's only two of us, I don't think we can get away with like not having a rando.
It's got to happen, isn't it?
Gotta
Tradition,
happen.
tradition. It's like
So
Christmas now, isn't it? It's 'cause
I
just
know it's
weekly
gotta
thing.
happen. We talked about finishing this pod in time for me to go and watch Race Across the World.
Yeah,
Um, you also watch it.
love it. Yeah.
I love it. And I gave you a kind of heads up of what the rando is. So if you were going to go on Race Across the World, who would you go with? And do you think you'd be successful?
Okay, I'll take the second half of the question first. Okay, whether I'd be successful, and I'll give you an example of why I think my answer is going to be the case. Okay. About 10 years ago, I went on an orienteering course about teaching orienteering to kids. And they gave us the maps and they talked us through it and they said, oh, you can see this bit here, whatever, and that bit there, and that's where you need to go to first or whatever, and blah, blah, blah. And it was a race. So there's about 10 of us there. So they blew the whistle to start. Nine people ran off in that direction, and I ran off the other way. And that was just standing in a field following a map. So there's not a cat's chance in hell that I'm going to travel across China without getting completely and utterly lost. So yeah, to answer the second part of the question, I would be absolutely shocking on it. Um, who I take with me? I wouldn't take Becky with me because we would fall out to the point of divorce. We can't put a tent up without falling out completely on holidays. That's not a good plan. So I don't think that would be good. Um, Ben and I travel pretty well together, my son.
Yeah,
We do travel pretty well together, but we'd be too half-soaked. We wouldn't be racing at all. We'd be, oh, have a look at that over there. Oh, let's go and have a look at this over here. Oh, look, there's a football game over there. Let's go and watch that. Is the right
I
program?
saw you
Let's
started
stay
it.
and
It's
watch
like
that.
I'm completely buy into this.
We'd be
He's a
doing
little
all that.
cutie, but
Yeah.
can't see you.
We'd be too half-soaked, I think, to do it. My youngest Zach, on the other hand, he was only 11, but he would be super focused. He'd be driven of, okay, we've got to get here. This is all we're doing today is traveling from A to B, nothing else. And he would keep me on track. So
I got
despite him only
skills.
being 11, I would take Zach with me, and he can probably read a map better than me as well.
Yeah, and get you there.
Go on,
Um,
Sam, who are you taking?
John is super good with this kind of thing. Really, really good. But I'm a diva. So I would probably have a tantrum with certain things, like watching last week when they stayed in the two brothers stayed in
Oh,
that place,
yeah,
and like I've been to India, I peed and done things in holes in the floor. It's not for me. It's
no.
not for me. Some of the food, definitely not for me. So that's the kind of thing that I would struggle with. I wouldn't have a problem like being on a like the train with the pee on the floor coming out of the toilet.
Mm,
I would kind of be okay with that. That wouldn't gross me out too much. Um, but it's the guys who got on the boat with the hurricane and they're like, why is it not going? That would proper annoy me.
yeah.
That's not gone too well. So I think I would go with John and I would be okay, but I think John would probably want to cave my head in because I'd be an arsehole. Um, the only other person, like my mother's got no sense of direction. I call her the twat nav because she keeps going, you're going the wrong way. I'm not going the wrong way. You're telling me to go the wrong way. And me and my brother would just end up having a fist fight because he would do me in. He would
Yeah.
literally do me in. But um, yeah, no, I don't think I could slum it then, shall we say.
I think years ago I would have been all right on something like that in terms of the conditions and sleeping anywhere. Not anymore.
No,
I'm too used to my creature comforts now for that kind of thing,
no.
to be honest. And some of the places, it's like that place you said about the brothers where they stayed.
Yeah, it
That
was
looked
awful.
like the grimmest room you could possibly stay anywhere. I was
And
dying.
the divorced married couple who went to pick like the bamboo chestnuts in the
Yeah,
water, like they had the waders and stuff on. Now, I'm not good with water. The fact that there could be something in there,
yeah,
I'm not good with that. So for me to put my hand in there and not know what's in there is not
no.
it's not happening, to be honest.
I tell you
But
what, though, how cute are our little Welsh couple on there? Aren't they
they
lovely?
annoy me. Seaned and Finn
Yeah,
in it.
and yeah.
I'm like,
Oh,
Jesus
they're
Christ, get a
lovely.
grip. Like, seriously, I
They're
want to
so,
shake them.
they're little kids, aren't they? Bless them, but they're doing so well, and I do love them. They're so
She's a
innocent.
proper madam. Like, I would probably be that, but 10 times worse, if I'm being honest. Now, when you look at someone's behavior and you're like, I see very much a lot of me in that behavior. And whilst I do not like it in you, I definitely do not like it in me. Um, but that is us for this week. I'm super excited for the Lions announcement tomorrow. I think I'm going to have to get myself a Lions shirt, but there's some really nice stuff on the website and some like really nice pink girly stuff as well, which is like super, super cute. So
Yeah, see, the
might
shirt I'm
get
not so
myself
keen on.
some
I
stuff.
don't like the curtain design on it. That's all I can describe it as,
No,
like, the curtain design. I prefer the supporters top that's got the plain red.
right.
The player shirt has got like that
I don't
lion,
mind
the
that.
curtainy thing on it. I'm not so keen on that, but some of the training stuff, like you said, is really
Don't
nice.
mind that, but I do like the training stuff. Um, and that is us for this week. Now, Rod should be back with us next week. As I say, he's doing some grown uppy stuff.
Yeah, he's more
Um,
grown up than us despite being half my age.
he is. That boy is he's 28. He's so together. Like absolutely got his shit together. 28. I was still living at home with my mum, and I was an absolute fucking car crash. Like absolutely, I was still going out on a Friday and not coming home till Sunday morning. Like awful, absolutely awful. Um, but we put all our follow details up on our socials as always. Like, comment, share, subscribe. YouTube, we're almost at the 130 subscribers now. So even if you don't like us, just like and share. Our stickers are still up in Cardiff. Alex sent us a video of that outside
He
the Welsh
did.
Rugby Union shop.
I've got my first two stickers up. Sam handed my stickers over to me on Saturday. There are two stickers en route from Swansea to Mid Wales. If you're in Pont Abram service station, there's one there, and there's one on a bin in Raider. So
Nice. I like it. I like it a lot. Um, the other thing to wish me luck for this week is you may or more people who are watching this may or may not know what Labubu's are. Um, it's frying me that I can't get hold of them on the restock days. They're going up for restock on Friday on Popmart UK. If I do not get some on Friday, I'm gonna like kick off again. I even went to Smides on the weekend and bought myself some Sylvanian Families blind bags to open instead of Labubus, and it just didn't cut it. Like, did not cut it at all. So,
oh, pray
um,
for Sam this Friday then.
pray for me, pray for me. But have a lovely week. We'll all be on our socials all weekend as well, watching the Ospreys game. Also be in our community chat as always. Garen, keep that AI coming. I love it. The Star Wars one is my favourite. And I've actually changed my profile picture to the Miss Piggy one because it's so cute. It's literally me with just with Miss Piggy ears and a nose. I love it. But have a wonderful week, everyone. Enjoy the rugby, enjoy the Lions announcement. We'll get our squads up on socials and let's see if we had a direct line to Faz or not. But have a lush week. Bye, everyone.